Hello YouTube. It has been many years since I've uploaded anything. I apologize for that. The last few years have been full of change for me. I've changed houses, I've changed relationships, I've changed careers. I'm actually not doing as much teaching these days, but I'm playing more professionally, which is fantastic. And so I've been very busy and I apologize for not uploading anything. But today you're in for a treat. I've got something new, something cool to show you all, and it is in a very large box which just arrived. I just turned up at home and there's this giant box sitting on my doorstep, and the box is right here. I'll change this camera angle and I'll get to unboxing it. Well, you've probably figured it out already from watching that unboxing, but here we have it. This is a Leblanc Contra-alto Clarinet to low C. This is not a cheap Chinese copy, knockoff. This is the real deal. This is an actual Leblanc one. So I haven't purchased this. This has been generously lent to me by a good friend of mine. So thank you, you know who you are. And I've never played an actual Leblanc Contra-alto. They're pretty rare. In fact, from the limited research that I've done, I believe there's only about 600 of them. And the serial numbers started at 100 and go to about 700. The serial number for this one, I don't even know where the serial number for this one is. It is 517. It's just on the top of the neck receiver, 517, which puts it at being manufactured around 1972, from what I can tell. So pretty cool. I'm gonna pop the floor peg on and give it a bit of a play. Okay, well, I've just put the floor peg on and run into my first issue, and that is that the floor peg is pretty short. You can see where the mouthpiece is and where I'm sitting. I'm gonna need a very short chair or a longer floor peg. So I went and grabbed the floor peg from my contrabass, the Jinbao contrabass, and it didn't fit. It's too thick. I grabbed a bass clarinet one, which was a buffet, but a long one for a buffet prestige bass clarinet, and it didn't fit this either. So at the moment, I've just got the supplied, I guess, original Leblanc floor peg, which is a bit too short, but I'll still persist and I'll give it a toot and we'll see how it sounds. This is going to be really awkward. Cool. Okay, so it is sealing all the way down to low C. I have to keep the low D key pressed though. It's not an automatic left hand D. When you close the holes for low C, it doesn't automatically close low D. You know what I mean? try and go up any higher. So struggling to get a thumb C, but at the moment, that's okay. Pretty cool instrument. Something that I noticed straight away, and I hope this is going to pick up on camera, is the side keys. So this clarinet actually has 3 side trill keys. So this one for your E flat or D sharp, both of them together for F sharp. And I'll try out the top one, which I'm assuming is like an alternate fingering for B flat. Yeah, and in fact the side key sounds much more open and responsive than the throat B flat, so I think I would use that. So yeah, probably one of the only Contras that I know of, apart from maybe the Eppelsheim, that has side trill keys. Very cool. Okay everyone, so I've set up a selection of Contra clarinets here, and they're all set up on this really cool stand, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But for now, from this side, we have my Selmer Bundy Contra-alto down to low E flat. We've got the new Leblanc Contra-alto down to low C. We've got the Leblanc Contrabass down to low C. I don't own this instrument, I've just borrowed it from the professional ensemble that I'm playing with at the moment. And then on the far side, we have the Jinbao Contrabass to low C, which is just essentially a cheap copy of the Leblanc design. So I'm gonna give each of these a bit of a toot back to back and chat a little bit about some of the differences and what I like or dislike about each of them. See what you think? Okay, let's give each of these a bit of a play test. I'm just going to play probably like a chromatic scale descending down to each instrument's lowest note. I might play up over the break a little bit. And then on the contra-altos, I'm going to play a little excerpt from Julie Giroux's Symphony No. 5, which is a piece that I'm playing at the moment in a professional wind band. We've actually got a concert this weekend. So we'll see how this goes, but I might use the Leblanc instead of my Selmer Bundy. We'll see how it goes though. So let's start on this side and we'll work our way over, starting with the Selmer Bundy Contra-alto to low E flat. I should mention this instrument at the moment, I've got a Selmer C Star mouthpiece on, with a Rico Strength 2 cane reed and a Van Doren Optimum ligature. So that's the low E flat. That's about as high as I can go on the contra-alto. I realized as I was playing that the Bundy does actually have the side trill keys. So maybe the LeBlanc Contra-alto is the only one with the side keys compared to contrabasses that I know of. Except the Eppelsheim. I don't know about the Eppelsheim. I'm going to have to try and get my hands on one of those at some stage. Anyway, the Selmer Bundy plays very evenly, plays very well, very easily. It articulates really well. The stock mouthpiece that this came with was a GOM Bundy 3, which I also really like. It plays with a really big sound, but the trade-off is that really big sound can be hard to control. So it gets a little bit squeaky. I think maybe the tip opening is really large on it, whereas this is a little bit closer. So the C Star doesn't squeak as much. It's a bit easier to control, which I quite like. Let's see how it stacks up against the LeBlanc. you can see just how short the floor peg is. I think I'm going to have to keep it up on the stand like this. The mouthpiece on this one is a 3D printed Jared de Leon mouthpiece. I've played some of his other mouthpieces on Contras and I really like them, so we'll see how this goes. This was just supplied with the instrument, and it's got a Rovna dark leather ligature with a Leger 2.5 strength reed, plastic reed. So we'll see how that affects the sound and the response. So that's the low C. So the Leblanc Contra-alto is also playing up over the break really nicely. Everything's sealing. Keys feel really good. Everything's snappy and responsive. I believe the friend that lent this to me had it serviced before he sent it down. So luckily it's all held its adjustment really well in shipping and it's playing really lovely straight out of the box. Yeah, I find that this instrument has a bit of a bigger, beefier sound, and I think that's because it's got a slightly larger bore, well, quite a larger bore. The mouthpiece for the Leblancs won't fit on the Selmer Bundy. The Selmer Bundy is a bit smaller bore. So yeah, I'm really enjoying this Jared de Leon 3D printed mouthpiece. I think it works really, really well. Let's jump over to Contrabass and see how that sounds. Here's the excerpt from Julie Giroux's Symphony No. 5. This is the third movement, called Wind. Here's a bit more of a close-up shot of this really cool stand that I've got each of these Contras on. It's kind of a custom make, but it's based off a surfboard stand. So you can get stands for surfboards, skateboards, longboards, and I find that it actually works really well with contra clarinets. This is really thick foam, really well padded. Same on the bottom here, really thick foam, so you can put the bell on there. I've got the peg on here, but you can also put the peg kind of through this little gap in the base. It's on wheels, it's on casters with locks as well. So that's really good. You can lock it in place. And yeah, it looks really cool with all the contra clarinets all set up on the one stand. And you can order them so that they're longer, you know, if you want to hold 5 or 6 or 8 or more, but I think 4 is a good number. I'll drop a link in the description of where I bought this stand from. That's pretty much it, guys. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments down below. They're all fantastic instruments. They all have strengths and weaknesses. I really like the original Leblancs, both contralto and contrabass. They're built to such a higher quality, I guess. It's so noticeable, particularly in the keywork. The keywork feels really tight and snappy and responsive. The Selmer is pretty good. The Jinbao is definitely not quite as good, but it's still very playable. I did have a few issues crossing the break on the Jinbao, but one of the pads was just a bit sticky, so I just pulled some paper over the pad and tried to clean it a little bit, and that seemed to fix it right up, and then it was able to cross the break a bit easier. I forgot to mention the mouthpieces for the contrabasses. The Leblanc one was just the stock standard Leblanc mouthpiece with a Selmer ligature, and the Jinbao I was playing on a Phobes contrabass mouthpiece with a Rovner leather ligature, the same as what's on the Leblanc Contra-alto. Yeah, let me know if you have any questions, comments, and I'll try and do my best to answer them. Maybe next time I'll do a bit more in-depth on the Contra-alto with tuning and experimenting with different mouthpieces and things like that. So let me know what you think. Thanks very much. Hopefully it won't be a long time until I upload another video again. All right, see you guys.